107 FM, Eastside Radio.
Last week I hosted Thursday Drive here on Eastside Radio, and in a discussion I had in this very studio with Chris Bendel, who is the artistic director of the Pavilion, it came to light that a certain Ben Lee would be doing a performance at the Pavilion this Saturday, that is the 26th of October. Well, how delighted am I to be able to give my listeners a preview by having a chat with the said Ben Lee, who joins me in the studio right now. Ben, g'day.
Hello, hello.
It's lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me.
You've been had. Anyone who says thank you for having me...
Ever feel like you've been had? That's the story of the music industry.
That's the story of the music industry. The track we're listening to is called Catch My Disease.
True.
The reason I'm playing it is because I've been a little bit unwell over recent times, and I thought that was most appropriate. So
that's great. Let's just get the ventilation going and just, make sure we've got some good, just fresh air coming in.
We're trying as best we can. Why did you write that song? Were you thinking of me at the time?
No, I don't know why. I mean, I know overall why I write songs, because there seems to be a song missing. And so as a songwriter, you sort of have to write it.
Right.
Specifically, that one really just came from the chords. I mean, that's what's nice about music as opposed to poetry or something, that like there's a sensual, visceral side to it that's like an expression of either groove or harmony or just enthusiasm, that it sort of unfolds itself, and before you know it, there's something there.
Yeah, we had a group in here a couple of minutes ago from the Bondi Wave program, and they're very young kids, and I asked them which came first, the music or the lyrics, and as it turned out, young Quincy told me that she effectively went home and wrote a poem. Now, you don't write a poem about catching your disease.
I mean, it's interesting that she probably doesn't play an instrument, right?
You're right.
Yeah, that's like Morrissey would do that. Like that is a real like a singer's kind of thing.
Response.
It's different with people that play an instrument and write, where they usually kind of evolve together. Like,
right.
It's very hard for me to separate, even if you think of a lyric and you think of a phrase, it's got a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
As soon as it's said,
right.
It's got just a rhythm to the words. So straight away there's sort of like almost music built into it, even to a lyric, I guess.
So does that mean by the end of this little segment, this 25-minute segment or so, you'll have had another song, another lyric, another...
I mean, it's sort of always going. It's always bubbling. It's like... I tend to resist. I think of... my favourite musical experiences are more like abductions.
Where
I'm sort of resisting them. and they come anyway. So I don't like to be too. I sort of like have a bit of it like with the muse, you know. I have a bit of it like treat it mean, keep it keen type thing, where I sort of just try and get away. And it's the persistent ideas that really seem like they desire expression, the ones I finally submit to.
Right. Well, having almost dismissed the question, that song "Catch My Disease" was one that is pretty important to you, isn't it? It actually put you on the map.
Yeah, it was really cool because it was one of those ones. It was like how they say with some songs that like come in 3 minutes. It was that one. It took as long to write as it does to listen to. It was just a very organic thing. There's actually a demo that you can hear. I think it was maybe the B-side to the single, but we did it all backstage in Pomona, that's why I referenced that. It was just like I was playing and just coming up with the lyrics on the spot. But yeah, it's funny how songs, because the ones you have. It's not always the ones you feel super attached to that are the ones that have impact and create income and put food on the table and all that sort of thing. Yeah. It's like you can never really tell.
You can't tell. You're a Bondi boy?
Yeah, I grew up just the first street after the North Bondi Golf Course. So we, like a few times in my childhood, called Wentworth Street. It's like a dead-end street.
Right.
It's a few times during my childhood, a golf ball came and through the living room window. And also on those days where the wind changed. You know, back then the ventilation for the sewage pipe, the whole system wasn't as developed, I think.
Right.
So the wind would hit at the wrong time and it would really stink.
Oh, right. So
I think that made the property affordable, though, for my parents.
I was going to say what are your earliest memories, but I think you've just answered that one, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, but Bondi was so different back then.
Yeah.
It was. I remember lots of Maori biker gangs. And people stepping on needles a lot.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember everyone was always talking about stepping on needles?
Well, I
never heard anyone say that anymore.
Well, I don't remember that so much as the fact that if this was the centre of migration from New Zealand.
Yeah. And well, there was a big concert in '86, I think, called the Turn Back the Tide concert.
Yep.
Again, related to the sewage, because there was so much sewage coming in, and there was about 5 or 6 people that stepped on needles during that. So it became the stuff of urban legend.
Right. Urban legend. Isn't that wonderful to be remembered by?
But now it's not. Now it's all like people that don't have real jobs and drinking $11 cappuccinos at 1 in the afternoon.
$11
so great.
cappuccinos. Oh.
But I love it.
It's not as bad as that.
No, I'm kidding.
But Bondi. Yeah, you grew up here, but this pavilion has some more significance for you.
Oh,
doesn't
man.
it? Tell me about that.
Okay, I have so many. I'm connected to it in so many ways.
Right.
Well, my dad was on Waverley Council, so I was always like, it was just, we were always like I felt like making the rounds with him around the neighbourhood and checking after school and everything. But I had my bar mitzvah up in the Seagull room.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a square dance. One of the first Noise Addict shows was in the theatre, and I remember that we were looking for somewhere quiet to warm up, and we found like a broom closet.
Yeah.
And we went into it before we played, and it was a self-locking door.
Oh, no.
And I remember the band was so loud outside.
Guess what's coming. Guess what's coming.
Yeah, we were stuck in there banging on it, and it was funny because the rest of the band were laughing, and I was like almost on the verge of tears, and I remembered, this is how I'm different to them.
Right.
Like, for them, this is funny. For me, this is life and death. But then we played another Noise Addict gig, again, I think in the Seagull room, and then my first electric guitar got stolen. And then the final Noise Addict gig was in the same room.
Yeah, I was going to say, this place holds many memories for you. One prominent one would be major theft.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it was covered by insurance, which was really nice. I can't remember if it was the venue's insurance but it was
you wouldn't have carried insurance. You wouldn't have had the money.
No, I wouldn't have had for myself.
No,
exactly.
Of course not.
But I remember everyone was very helpful. But it was someone just like picked it up and walked out with it. And I mean, these things happen. They're character building experiences.
You've mentioned Noise Addict twice.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about it and your tender age when it got rolling.
Yeah. Well, we started it. I remember I saw Nirvana at the Big Day Out. I think that was January. It was 92 or 91.
92.
92, yeah. And pretty much like the next day, I was like, I'm starting a band.
Right.
Because it was the first band I'd only ever seen like international bands that were like superstars with pyrotechnics and all this stuff. And I saw Nirvana and I was like, I could do, I mean, not that I could do it that well, but it's just friends standing there playing instruments together. Yeah. So let's try it. And so I started a band, but it wasn't really like a proper band. It was more just like, I knew at that age, solo artists were very uncool in the early 90s. So I just named it a band, and then I roped in any friends that, like, if they had an instrument or their older brother did, and that became the band.
But when you say you didn't go so much for solo bands, you were very, very successful solo artist.
No, but that came later. That was when I was... So we started as a band, and then when I was 15, I think I made a solo record. But the first thing that really took off properly was Cigarettes Will Kill You, and that was like 99. So at that point, we were already like, I was like 6 or 7 years into my music career. Right,
because you've got 20 solo albums.
Yeah, give or take. The first 19 are the hardest, they always say.
Yeah, right. Okay, when's the 22nd coming then?
Yeah, it's on. I'm just keep doing it. I think of it as sort of like, I'm interested. You know, I think there's different types of artists. There's like perfectionist artists.
Yeah.
That work on these weird masterworks that take them 5 or 10 years and everything. And then there's diarists. Right. And I'm essentially much more of a diarist. Like I just want to document the journey and whatever I'm into and just keep making music.
Spontaneity and diarism.
Yeah.
Given that your attachment to Sydney and more particularly Bondi and even more particularly Bondi Pavilion, what's the deal with Los Angeles?
So I'm actually, I wouldn't say attachment to Sydney. I'm not a geographically attached person.
Right.
I love Sydney and I feel very,
emotional attachment.
No, though. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I've never been emotionally attached to places. I lived in New York for 6 or 7 years. I've lived in LA for 20 or something. Right. And then back here now, but I could picture living in many different places. I sort of don't care that much. It's sort of more about the people for me.
Yeah. But by people, talk to us about Weirder Together.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's me and my wife's little company. And it's interesting because we're still figuring out what it is. But
when did you start it?
We started it a few years ago, I think in maybe 21 or something, and it's been a variety show, it's been a record label, it's been a podcast platform, it's been parties, it's basically like us sharing whatever we're into and like supporting our community and helping our friends make stuff and promote it. And that's kind of what we look at it. It's like just like a platform for cool stuff, basically.
Right. And now?
Yeah, now, I mean, we just had a little, we spent the last week really helping our friend, this New York filmmaker, Alexi Wasser, who came out to show her film Messy at South by Southwest, and we just spent the week helping her promote that. And we looked at that as a function of the company. We do a podcast, we have a Substack. It keeps changing form. It's like, it's creative, you know?
The way we were.
Let's talk about it over a beer. I'm right here, just thinking about the way we were, the way we were, the way we were. I know it's never like to yell about some strangers. I did it for you.
I feel a little bit guilty playing this following those little 15-year-old kids that we just had on. This is no amateur performance.
Yeah, but it's funny because I think that a lot of what I'm talking about in that song is about the age they're at, of just the vibe of when you go in and you just attack it.
I think that's why I played it. Yeah. It's called The Way We Were.
Yeah.
And it's great. Behind me, if you look behind me, there's a set of record players. Now, tell us what you'd do with them if we swapped seats. Because you're a bit of a DJ.
Yeah, but not with vinyl. I would never. I mean, it's too scary to do it with vinyl because it's like with technology, it's so easy. But I basically approach DJing from a songwriting perspective. Right. So I like to do mashups between songs that have, I feel, a resonance between them, even if they're really unexpected.
Right.
So like I did one recently between Björk and the Beatles. I'll do all kinds of stuff.
That's a heck of a contrast.
Yeah, it worked really well though. So I don't know. I just kind of look for like where I hear almost like just a weird thematic or musical thread that I can't even articulate, and I just try and get it done.
Gee whiz!
Yeah,
that's extraordinary. That's the way we were. You released your latest album. This one's for the old heads, spelt with a Z. Was that on purpose?
Yeah, I kind of like to spell things with a Z.
Yeah, okay. Well, you managed it well. You released that on the 20th of September, just a little while ago, and you're performing here at Bondi Pavilion on the 26th as part of your Australia-wide tour. Now, before we get to that particular performance, I just said it was like a worldwide tour.
Yeah, it's not really. It's really just Australia.
Okay, well, it is a wild tour.
Yeah, it's. This year I'll have done 91 shows around Australia. It's funny. When we came out in March, I just said to my booking agent, "Put me to work. I'm in the mood to work." And so we booked a few regionals, and it's interesting now. I think because of socials, people can see what you're doing, and so all these offers started coming in, and I got to really, for the first time in a 30-year career, really tour regional and small town Australia and fall in love with all these places like Queenscliff and just places I've never gotten to go. And, I played the Scone Street Fair the other day.
Scone Street Fair.
There's all these cool places that, and especially I think post-COVID, where a lot of people moved from the cities to small towns, there's actually a much more probably artistically literate audience living in smaller towns than there used to be. So it's really cool.
You mentioned a few moments ago that the collaboration with your wife is an important one, and in fact, it even delves into films.
Yeah, we've made some short films and things together, and we're developing a few different projects. Yeah.
Who else are you? You're renowned for your collaboration with people. Tell us about some of the collaborations you've done with others.
Oh, it's so many. I've done, and really all different. Like I wrote a musical, a psychedelic children's musical about alcohol with Tom Robbins.
Oh, hang on. This is a PG audience.
Yeah, well, it's for children.
What, psychedelic?
Yeah, it's a psychedelic children's musical about alcohol. So it's about a 7-year-old girl who steals her dad's beer on her 7th birthday, and passes out and gets a visit from the beer fairy, who takes her on a journey through time and space to understand the nature of consciousness. But we couldn't really get anyone to fund it. I think it was a bit edgy, probably because people had the same reaction you just had, like assuming, well, kids shouldn't be seeing that. But I sort of view drugs and alcohol as I don't really like the taboo way society talks about it, because it's almost like you make it this crazy illicit thing that almost everybody does in society, but parents never talk to kids about it. Yeah. So anyway, I did that. That was amazing.
It depends on the outcome, though, whether somebody would fund something like that, doesn't it? I mean, if everybody lived happily ever after and was responsible and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, sort of. I don't think there's many scenarios where, when you look at Broadway, basically. It's a pretty corporate structure, and the idea of even having children, without a moral teaching that it's wrong that the child stole the alcohol, it's very hard to get that kind of thing.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And then I've done things lots of music, with Ben Folds and different people, and then I've, me and Lena Dunham, who made Girls, we put on a night once that was it was a piece of theatre, basically, that was, an exploration of the relationship between the Gallagher brothers from Oasis through music and song, called Champagne Super Analysis, where we had Brad Pitt came out and said, "Let's do this, you C word." And it's a kids program. So
that's right. That's right. You can't possibly do that.
Yeah, we don't do that. With Brad, what are you doing to us, mate?
Cho-dependent.
Oh yeah, Margaret Cho. I produced most of her record. It was a comedy music record.
And Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, we did a duet. A mutual friend of ours died of COVID, and there was a tribute album to him, and we covered a song together.
Yes, and Tom Robbins.
Yeah, so we wrote that musical together, B is for Beer.
Yeah, B is for Beer. I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it too.
Well, we should... I wonder, would East Side Radio sponsor it? No, look, sorry, we don't have any money. So we've discussed we've discussed the collaboration on Weirder Together, and I think if you're verging out into films and songwriting and theatre and everything else, then you put out this new album just now.
Yeah, I think the main thing is the way I look at creativity, and the reason, I was in a movie. I don't look at mediums as being that important.
Right.
I love music. It's my first love. But more important to me is the group of people and the message of the work.
Yeah.
So I think you can move between different mediums. As long as you don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to be a genius at all of them, because it's not possible.
Yeah.
But you then surround yourself by people that know more than you, and you make things,
You mentioned how many stop-offs are there in this current tour, beginning to end?
It'll be 91.
91.
That's just this year, but we're going into next year.
No,
so
I'm only talking this year.
Yeah.
So over 91, or the
Yeah.
number that you've had so far,
Yeah.
you've got to have made mistakes. You've got to have cocked up. Tell us about some of the errors, some of the Ben Lee errors.
Well, there's
got to be some.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually like mistakes, and they don't stand out in my mind as like terrible things. Like yesterday, we were on stage at River Stage. We played with Tism in Brisbane, and the keyboard player came in early with a Catch My Disease riff, and I just stopped it and I went, you know, we are mistakists. We are here representing mistakeism, and we firmly believe in this moment, and we just started the song again. Like, I think mistakes are gorgeous.
They're part of humanity. We all make them. Nobody doesn't make mistakes.
They're more than part. They're like the best part.
They're the best part. Oh, well, we can't let things go altogether correctly in that case. We have to make some mistakes here and there. So you're not going to own up to anything which caused you embarrassment?
No, I get embarrassed. I get more embarrassment though from interpersonal things, like, you know, if you find you're at a party talking to someone and then you realize they're trying to get out of the conversation, and you know, it's like all those kind of things are more the embarrassing things to me than on stage. I think people, I genuinely believe people are not there for perfection. Like, people are there for humanity.
For humanity, yeah.
And so, like, mistakes are part of that. It's more like in our social lives where there's the expectation that you got to keep it together, keep it together.
Yeah. We discussed the title of your most recent album, This One's for the Old Heads. That's got to be inspired by nostalgia. Yeah. Now, you don't strike me as being a person for whom nostalgia is a primary motivation.
Well, it's interesting because it's, to me, the connection with the values that I grew up on in indie rock, which is sort of what this record's about. It's like live music, guitars, harmonies, introspective lyrics, the feeling that songwriting gives you. That, to me, it's not nostalgic, even though it's from my past, because I can still have it now. Yeah. So I think what I was interested in with this record was, it's a record about getting older and about being present, but we live within the context. As you know, the quote goes, of all that came before us, we didn't fall out of a coconut tree.
Yes, that's right.
So yeah, it's like, it's not nostalgia as much as it's like roots. You know, it's your roots. Like like we recorded this album live to tape because there's something about that architecture that allows for spontaneity and mistakes and imperfection.
Yeah, my word.
But it's not about wanting to go back to the past. It's about wanting to have that now.
I wonder whether it is in the stepping stone of Ben Lee's musical discography. What will follow it, or do you not actually even think that far in advance?
Well, it's interesting with music now because you're sort of always making and releasing music. It's not, album cycles aren't as defined as they used to be.
Right.
So I've got a single coming out on Friday that's a duet with a friend of mine in LA, Johanna Samuels, called Sunset Marquee, and we're just putting that out. And I'm just going to keep putting out music, so I don't have too much of a plan.
So Sunset Marquee, how did that come about? I mean, did you come up with some words?
Yeah, we just sat together
and...
We were sitting together, and she had a little piano melody that sounded sort of like Amy Mann or Elliott Smith, and it sounded really mournful. And I had this lyric, I'm kind of depressed, but I'm doing my best, and my best's all you're getting from me. And she really liked it, and so we just kind of built from
that's
there.
Great.
It was, that's
great.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Was that over a coffee or a beer?
I think it was a coffee. It was a daytime situation.
Right. If it was over a beer, would it be any different?
Possibly. I mean, there's that whole world of, the way we can influence our consciousness and creativity. But it's a dangerous game,
I'm speaking with the wonderful Ben Lee here on Monday Drive. It's 21 minutes past 5. Ben, I'm thinking your new album. I just again wonder whether or not there's anything about it that you would change if you had the opportunity, or you're entirely happy with it.
I mean.
That's not a criticism.
No, I get it. But those two questions, to me, one doesn't lead from the other. Like even the things I'm not happy with, I wouldn't change.
Right.
Because that's the record. Like, if you're interested in capturing it's like photography or something, then it sort of is what it is. Like it happened live and it happened. But yeah, there's things I'm kind of moving now into a bit of a more home recording kind of space, so we'll see where that goes.
Do you in fact record?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I also think now that like radio, I mean, I know you guys are doing it, but like it's sort of like a legacy. It's not the way people discover music anymore.
Right.
So
well, I hope they discover some of these tracks we're playing.
Yeah, me too.
They're your tracks.
But you know what I mean? It used to have a real stranglehold on the aesthetics of music.
Yeah.
It had to sound a certain way, certain subject matter, certain lengths. Now, because people discover through streaming, it's almost like things that differentiate you and make you sound unique are more important than ways you conform to the aesthetic standards. So I think you can make actually weirder music now and find an audience than you used to be able to. You know?
None of your music is weird. We love it all.
Yeah, cool.
It's great to listen to, even on the radio.
Cool. Yeah.
Now, I understand that tickets for your performance at this very pavilion on this very Saturday coming up are nearly all sold out.
I think there's some standing tickets still.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Well, for details and those standing tickets, you could go presumably to bondipavilion.com.au. What can the audience expect?
See, when I play live by myself, because this is a solo one,
Right.
I don't really use a set list. I just have this list of like 70 or 80 songs and we just see what happens.
See how
but
you feel.
The one thing I do know is my kid, who's 15 now, she said to me yesterday, she's like, because we play together somewhere, she's like, can I get up and do a song with you at your next show? I was like, yeah, perfect. We're playing Bondi Pavilion where I played when I was your age. So,
isn't that
So
fabulous?
she's going to get up and do a song with
That's
me.
a great story.
Yeah.
Okay, well, finally, why don't you introduce a song of your choice, so that for those people who don't get the opportunity to see you tomorrow, because tickets will probably sell out by the time this song finishes, tell us what you'd like to introduce from your most recent endeavour.
This is a tune called Positive Energy, and it's about the pressure you can feel to stay positive in the modern world, how hard it is, but also the longing and the effort and how important it is.
Okay, Ben Lee, thank you so much for coming into the
Thanks for
studio
having me.
today.
Cheers.
It'll be good. I don't think you're supposed to say good luck for the concert, but break something for the concert and don't get your guitar stolen.
Okay. Cause I never know why. Gets a low, I could cry. Gets a quiet and I don't even tell my friends. So yeah, I've been kinda down, but when I get into town, maybe you could come round, let's make it good again. Don't you wanna make it good again, baby? I'm half asleep, half awake. I got a heart that can break. If I ever wanna create, but I've been feeling so strange. Can't stop reading the signs, but if I run out of time without this love in my mind, maybe I'm ready to change. Oh yeah, I'm ready to change, baby. I really, really wanna be positive energy, but living in reality is getting kinda heavy. I can see it right there in front of me. Give me a hit of your positive energy. Your positive energy. Everywhere that I turn, I'm finding something to learn. I'm finding something to burn. I learn to suffer in style. Guess there ain't no way out of all the sadness around. Just keep my feet on the ground and do it all with a smile. Yeah, we can do it all with a smile, baby. Darling, don't you wanna be positive energy, living in reality? You know it ain't easy. Can't you see it's love and all our enemies? Take a hit of my positive energy. I really, really wanna be positive energy, but living in reality is getting kinda heavy. I can see it right there in front of me. Give me a hit of your positive energy. Your positive energy.
Guess I'ma never know why. I guess a lower could cry. Guess I'ma never know why. I guess a lower could cry. I get so quiet and I don't even tell my friends. I really, really want to be positive energy. Living in reality is getting kind of heavy. I can see it right there in front of me. Give me a hit of your positive energy. Come on, give it all to me. Positive energy. 'Cause living in reality is getting kind of messy. Can't you see it's changing up our chemistry? Getting closer to something that we want to be. I can see it right there in front of me. Give me a hit of your positive energy. Your positive energy.
89.7 FM, East Side